Hello there and welcome again to my workshop. I've got about 5 to 6 weeks lead time now while I'm waiting for parts to come in for the next big build. So I'm going to address an issue that a lot of you have, and that is how a laser works and how to operate a laser successfully. So in the next series of videos is going to be quite a bit of laser work. So you need to start off right at the very beginning. There is some technical and scientific knowledge that you would need. So over the next few videos we will get into some of that, but not too deep. Now, first of all, a lot of you are asking me where I got my laser from. Well, I had my laser custom made for me from a factory in China, and unfortunately that factory is gone out of business due to the the troubles over the last 12 months. So I'm sorry I can't direct you to where I got my laser. However, I have produced a video here on what to look for in a good laser, because if you just go and purchase one straight off eBay, you're going to be throwing your money away. It's not going to last you any time at all. Okay, so I advise you to go and see that video, and then you can come to your own, shall we say, informed opinion. Okay, so how to use a laser, or how a laser works? Well, very basically, a laser tube creates a wave of light that you can't see. All right, this is a CO2 laser. And it's what is known as coherent light. In other words, it's light that goes in one direction. Normal light that you and I see, general light, is scattered light. It goes in all directions. Okay, so what a laser does is it creates or it makes photons, okay, go in one direction only, and it comes at the end of the laser tube at, in my case, about 12 millimeters in diameter, about half an inch. Okay, just under half an inch. That's how big the beam of light is. And then that gets bounced around or directed via 3 mirrors. Okay? And eventually down to, through a lens to the material that you either want to etch, engrave, cut, or mark. So there's several different operations a laser can carry out with its beam. It can cut, it can etch, it can mark, or it can burn. Okay, they're all different processes. So what we're going to do today is 2 operations in one, and it's a bit of a balancing act. We are going to get the laser to trace this and mark and burn at the same time without cutting through a thin piece of plywood. Okay, so we're going to get the laser to draw this. Okay, it will come out fairly black, like charcoal, but it will be like a pencil line, a very, very thin pencil line. But to get that there is some experimentation that we need to do first. I will tell you now, the preceding video to this one, I put a JPEG picture into Carveco Maker Plus in my case. Incidentally, the Carveco programs, there is a 5% discount code underneath this video in the description section. And I use Carveco to create the vectors, the lines. Okay, so you need a program to create lines. Then there is another program, in my case, LaserCut 6.1. That's the best program that I find anyway, easy program to use. And I will show you that in a few moments of the first steps of using that. So, unfortunately, laser tutorials are a lot of talking and a lot of experimentation. So these videos could go on for some time. So if you are serious about learning about lasers, or even learning to a stage where you can start your own business or make some money back on your investment, you're going to have to be prepared to learn and practice and experiment. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so this is a fairly basic laser program. This is LaserCut 6.1. It's easier for me to, rather than screen capture, to do a short tutorial with the program because I use my hands. Okay, drawing tools, very simple, they're up here. Squares, circles, and lines of whatever sort you want. And there's other tools down here to copy lines and what have you. So what we're going to do is just get a simple square. I'm going to come anywhere on here, it doesn't really matter. Okay? And we're going to draw a 2-inch square, roughly 50 millimeters. So I've got the cursor placed on one of the corners of the grid. And I'm just going to held the leftmost down, drawn it out, and released it. Oh, drawn it out and left clicked again. Now that's drawn, so now we want to give it an absolute size. Now to do that, we come over here and right click. Okay, so you just hover over one of the lines and right click, and you see you can do other things. So we want to resize this. And okay, so this lock scale, if you keep it locked, you only have to alter 1 if you want an absolute square, because this is locking the aspect ratio. So here we go. So we're going to say 50.8. Now 50.8 is the exact metric dimension for 2 inches, because 1 inch is 25.4 millimeters. Okay? So that is now going to be exactly a 2-inch square. So we press OK. Now we'll leave this highlighted, and at this stage, I don't know whether you can see, you can see on the camera, there's a line here of boxes. Now we won't worry about them, but I will tell you, this is for different layers. Okay? So the laser can distinguish between different lines on here, so you can individually do things if you wish. But we're just going to concentrate on this one at the moment. So we'll leave that highlighted at the moment, and we're going to come over here, and if you come up this box up here, you can see the word cut there. Well, it's automatically set for a cut, but if you click on it, you can engrave, cut, or hole. Okay, so there's several different ways in which the laser can cut or whatever with this box shape that we've just drawn. Well, for this operation, we want to tell it to cut, which is right. Now we come over on the black, which indicates the layer, and double click, which brings up this dialog box. Now, this first one is work speed. In other words, how fast the laser nozzle is going to move across the material or around the material, around that square, to do whatever you want to do with it. We're going to say possibly 10. Let's say 10 millimeters. Okay, which is not very fast, but it's okay. Now this one here, work arc, this is the initial strike of the laser, initial switch on, the punch into the material. Okay, so if we was going to cut through 1/2 inch thick plyboard, right, you put that up to about 80%. Okay, and the laser would switch on and go boom and punch a hole straight through. Okay, we don't want to do that. We just want the laser to switch on. So we're going to say 20%. That is. Okay, 20%. Now in the corners, the laser tends to slow down. Okay, so sometimes in a corner you require a little tiny bit more power. All right. In our case, we just want to mark the surface. So we're going to leave it the same setting as this. In more videos, we will come into corner arc. But well, at the moment we're going to say 20. Power 1, power 2. Now this is really when you're engraving. When you're cutting, you want this to remain constant. Okay? Now, we are calling this a cut, but what we're actually doing is tracing or drawing with the laser. Okay? So you set the power rating in percentage terms at a fairly low level, 20%, because you don't want to cut all the way through, or you hope you don't cut all the way through. This is experimental at the moment. So what we're doing, we're setting it to what we think would be right. So we're going to make this 20%, and this one 20%, which is about 35 watts of output in actual fact. This one here we can leave alone. That is if your laser is equipped with 2 laser tubes. Always blowing. Now there is an air pump in the back of the laser which administers air into the bottom of the nozzle. Now that does 3 different jobs. It keeps the underside of the lens cool. You can imagine it might get pretty hot. It keeps it clean, and also it comes out the end of the nozzle and blows the debris away from the cut, because we're dealing with light here. Even though it's light we can't see, anything disrupting that light can, sort of disrupt the cut or whatever you're doing. So you need to blow away the debris or the smoke or the particulates that is left behind. So we're going to say that's good. We aren't going to worry about anything else. That'll come in way down the track. So we press OK. Okay, that's done. So there's a couple of little things here. I think you can just pick this up. There's our square, there's a little yellow box, there's a red arrow, and there's a blue dot. Okay, I think you can see that. Now, the blue dot, that is the start of the program. This is a program now. So that is where we need to set the laser 00. This is G code. Exactly the same as a router or a milling machine. G code. So we're going to set the 00 point right there. I'll show you in a minute how to do that. But where the yellow little box is there, that is where the laser is going to start the cut. So when we press the go button, the laser is going to come over to here and then start firing at that yellow square, and that is the direction it's going to travel. Okay, see that little red arrow there? So it's going to go there, 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 there. So just remember, we are just looking at marking the material surface to like a black pencil line only. That's what we want. So we'll go to the laser now and put this file in and we'll test it. Okay, so this is my 100 watt laser. So the nozzle is here and it runs on linear square rails, and there's a mirror here, there's a lens about here, there's a mirror at the other end there, and there's another two. Just very simply put. So the first thing to do is to bring the laser nozzle or the head over to a test piece of material, and we're going to focus it. That's very easily done. I can either use the onboard controller here. This is like the brains of the laser. Or indeed I can use my computer which is connected to it. But we'll just run the head over here. Very simple to operate. Incidentally, the noise that you can hear in the background is two air pumps. Now, never put your finger underneath if you can avoid it, because this laser light, you can't see. See that? It's actually blowing those pulses of air. Okay, so there's a little compressor in the back there that's blowing air, then this pipe into this nozzle which is blowing underneath the lens, keeping it cool and clean, and then blowing it through here to blow the resulting smoke and debris away. Now, my laser is fitted with an automatic Z focusing unit. So this is like a rubber coated piece of steel. You put underneath the head there like that, and then with one press of a button on my computer it will automatically set the focus of the laser. And you'll see a little red dot here. This is a focusing secondary laser which shows me where the nozzle is, so I can set the start of the program, the X, Y coordinate 0. So here we go, we're going to focus the laser. And you can see now that that red dot is pretty well directly underneath that now. So that's focus. It's about 10 millimeters, something like that. So now we're going to put the nozzle at the start of that program, start of that square. And we do that with these little arrow buttons on the controller here. It'll move fairly quickly too. Like that. Incidentally, these here, which just sort of hold the material down and steady, they're just magnets. So we're going to set that as our 0 datum, which is just done by the button on here. And all that's left to do now, because I've sent that little program into this controller. Okay, so let's see what that setting does. I'll bring you in for a closer look. Okay. Oh dear. It's actually cut it right through. Look at that. Way too much power. Way too much power. And that is just 20%. The wetness or the dampness here you can see is the residue that has come out of the material. Because what the laser does, it agitates the molecules of the material so much that they rip themselves apart. And this dampness is the resins and water that was in the wood, in the material, and also the black is the carbon that is left. And you know, the rest is disintegrated into smoke and gas. And that is what the filtration system is for, is to take that away, because obviously the resins in this type of man-made wood is or can be carcinogenic. Okay, so we know that is way too much, so we need to knock the power down. So it's back to the drawing board, and we'll do some more settings. So we reopen that. I double click in, left mouse click in, that is, on the cut up in that top corner, and I've just marked on here 10mm, 20% laser power. So we have a record then of what we've done. So obviously that was too much. So now we can come to a better setting or a better result by altering two things. Obviously the speed and the power output. Because if you move faster, the laser isn't in contact with the material in one spot for a particular length of time. It's a slower length of time, so it doesn't have time to do so much damage. Because that's what we're doing, we're damaging the material in a controlled manner. And also the power is too much. So we're going to make two alterations here. We've got 20mm, we're double the speed. Okay, so it's 20mm per second. So that's twice the speed. And we're going to bring the power down to 15%. I've just altered that now, so it's 20mm per second of travel speed, and now 15%. So we'll just set that datum. So the datum has been set there now, and we will... I'll just show you a little thing. Now, when I set the datum here, I can now do a test to run around to make sure that we are in the area that we think we are. So I just press test on the keyboard here, and it runs around and tells me, yep, that's okay. So now we're going to press start, and away it'll go. Okay, that's a little better, but it didn't actually burn through. It did just a very, very faint amount there. So it's still actually cutting a trench. So it's still too much. So that is 20 millimeters at 15% output. So we've even got to go faster and reduce the power level. So let's go and do that. Okay, so I've just reset this now at 22 millimeters per second and 11% output of the laser. And we'll see what happens here. That is most definitely what we're looking for. A clean, thin, black line. Okay, so this is the scene, okay, and these are the vectors, all these different lines. Any line of any shape, description, or any length is called a vector, okay? So this is what we are going to make. Now, I'm going to export this vector file now into LaserCut 6.1, and I will set those settings and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I've just exported them to my desktop, the vectors that is, and I'll show you now how to get them into here. So we go here to import and desktop. Here they are here. Test that one. Already LaserCut has instantly looked at this and set all the, see all these little yellow little tiny boxes? That's what the laser is going to move to, start to do a cut, okay, or a mark, and it will run and then left and go somewhere else and do another one and another one, another one, another one. This is broken up into many different sections for the laser to do. Now all we need to do is exactly the same process, is tell the laser program how fast and how much power. So that's what we'll do right now. Let's just check it. 22 millimeters per second, 11%, 11%, all 11%, always blowing, and calculate. This could take some time because this is millions of calculations that this is doing. It's a fairly quick computer. Okay, so now we will just export that, and I'll put it into the other computer and we'll cut it. beautiful, isn't it? So from this to that, just a little bit of experimentation that you can do in 10 minutes. And that is how you get these results. You don't have to be, you know, sort of an artist, as it were. You just need to know a little bit about the programs to get the vectors, and then how to set the settings for the laser in the laser program to be able to get a finished product like this. Now I can hear some of you saying, well, what's the good of this? Well, just imagine being able to advertise yourself and say that you can make decorative art panels for a Japanese restaurants, or, you know, the sky's the limit of what you can actually do. And this is a very, very simple process for a laser. And, you know, you can build on this. My particular laser is a 1690. In other words, it will, you know, 600 millimeters by 900 millimeters panel that it would make. Or you can make sort of 4, 5, 6 of these and put into a framework to make a panel to go either on the side of a bar, or, you know, above a bar awning, or even paneling in a wall. So it is possible, highly you know, likely, that you can make your money back for your laser relatively quickly. This is just one of the types of products that you can make with your laser. And I can also hear some of you say, can we do that with a 50-watt laser? Well, yes, you can. There are some good 50-watt lasers out there, I'm sure. But if you're looking at a 50-watt or 60-watt laser, I would suggest to you to stipulate that you want a recce laser. Okay, that's one of the best CO2 laser tubes that you can buy, and that is where the money is. Okay, because unfortunately, the majority of machines that you can sort of buy on eBay, they say, oh, it's a 50-watt laser. Well, in fact, it's about a 35-watt laser, but it's capable of putting out 50 watts for a very short period of time before the laser tube will die, and that's a fact. Okay, next time when you come back, we're going to up the ante just a little bit, and I have a beautiful glass, well, square bowl that at the moment is clear, and I bought this for $10. We're going to turn this into $50 in about 30 minutes. So when you've done the artwork, okay, it's hardly possible to make 16, 20 a day or more, maybe 25 of these a day. At $50 each, you're making $40 profit roughly each, and it can be done quite easily. And I'm not saying, you know, you're going to make these every day for the next 10 years, what I'm saying is, this could be one of the products in your arsenal, all right, in your catalogue of products. And it is not difficult to make $1,000 a week, you know, or even $1,000 a day, depending on the type of work that you're doing with the laser. And then again, it all depends on what part of the world you live in too. So, next time you come back, I'm going to show you how to engrave in glass. And you go through the same, it's the same process. You trial some first on a sheet of glass to find the best settings to do a particular engraving. And if you want to make even more money per item, you personalize it. You know, you say to Aunt Daisy with love. You get the laser to actually etch the writing, you know, or congratulations on the birth of your new baby, you know, anything. Personalization of something like this, you know, happy birthday granny, you know, anything. You can charge $5 a letter and people will pay it. On top of the graphic engraving that you put on here. Okay, so I think you've sort of got where I'm going now. I'm going to teach you how to do lots of different types of work, what a laser will actually do, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So this is the first video in a series of videos, and I hope they are a help to you, and I hope they're entertaining to you. So, if you've liked this video, please press like and subscribe. You could also become a patron to this channel. Information is down below the video in the video description area, and because it is the patrons that keep me going with tutorials. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you pop in again to see one of my other videos on CNC routing, CNC building. I do quite a lot of that now, and I've got a big build coming up in about 7 weeks time, and also lasers, and I throw a bit of wood turning in as well, and some shop jobs that I do around here. So thank you for joining me, thank you for watching the video, and bye for now.